Yes. Thanks.
Oh.
Sorry about that video. Thank you.
Lots of bamboo coral behind here. There's a strawberry coral, a pink coral at 9. Yeah, there's lots of shimmer in the water column, so that could be a change in the current.
Copy. Push it forward.
Some nice Lophelia. You can see how it's like dead at the base, but the tips are alive. That's normal. It's very common. That's how these big mounds grow. There we go, Africalistes. Looks like a small white gorgonian next to it, and some bamboo corals. These really fine, delicate white corals are bamboo corals. They're also very common on these reefs. There's a nice one.
Wow.
Sweet. That's probably 1.5 meters. Okay, it looks like Cheryl said looks like we just transitioned between 9 and 9.4 degrees Celsius. That might have been causing the rippling effect in the water column.
We've been only increasing in temperature. I mean, earlier in the day it was about 8.5 degrees. So
that makes sense because we're coming up from the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of like just like a few meters west of the slope right now, I think, or north of the ridge.
Do we want to do one more bump?
You can see him at 9 o'clock. You can see this guy has
ahead. I'm going to hit the main. So you're on this
front
little fork
claws
of it.
still, so
If we shoot ahead like this, I'm going to hit this main ridge. Be able to go up with you. So I'll just keep you in view.
Referring to them as he's, but I mean, it could easily be female.
Is that coming east?
I'm just making a general.
Just looking at my nips.
There's a fish. Oh, it just looked like it snacked something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do a snap zoom on the fish video.
Wiggling around.
Okay.
Is that a cutthroat? Cutthroat eel, maybe?
I don't know. It looks different, actually.
Coming down on the rotator. Holding there.
Oh.
He's eating something or bumping into something.
Yeah, I think he's bumping into something. Our lights may have bothered him.
Do 090 on the next move.
Okay, we'll let him go into the hole. And
again, seeing a lot of those thin, wispy bamboo corals
meets up with the main ridge.
The Lophelia here, the main
we can
frames
head north.
here.
Yeah.
Full wide, please.
Yeah, I would.
Thank you.
I would let him get out a little ahead first. He's got to sort of sidle across, uphill, across my screen. Let him get out there.
I'm wondering if that black spot is just deceiving me, or if that is some sort of organism off to the left-hand side.
I'm looking at 135 right now, pilot. But the move's going to be 90.
Copy. Snap zoom on this dark spot.
Just a hole between some Lophelia. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it looks like we have a different kind of bamboo coral here. Still has that characteristic bandings, but slightly more robust and skeletal forms rather than all those wispy corals that we've been seeing, the more fragile ones behind it. Looks like another rat tail fish off to the right-hand side, just coming off screen now. He's hiding behind coral now. You see a whole bunch of these isolated cup corals, these yellow guys. They seem to have all of their tentacles, excuse me, drawn in. Yeah, we're having some dead Africalistes around as well. So many crinoids.
Some hydroids too.
Some hydroids, yep.
Maybe you're clear video. I was just trying to get lined up on the co-pilot.
There's another little squat lobster protecting its little corner.
Yep, this is odd. This pink stuff at 3. Can we get a snap zoom above the crab there?
It's like brown pinkish, yeah.
Above the squat lobster up here?
Yeah,
no. Well, further down the bottom squat lobster, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Right, yeah.
Go ahead and start coming in. I'm unsure of
okay,
which.
it's a zoanthid.
Okay.
It's a zoanthid colony. It looks like it's on a piece of sponge and a bunch of probably dead coral underneath it. That's what this pink is. So it's a likely parasitic, but I'm not sure about that. I'd call it infested, but that may be the wrong term.
It looks like an infestation. Let's call it a major colonization.
Yeah, there we go. Here's a good Immunotopicta with his arms. This one has his arms. His chelate hands, right? So you can see there's 2 claws on his first pair of legs. And he holds them out in the water column like that. And then when something swims by, it'll snap at it real quick and try and grab it. So he's just hanging out there waiting for something to run by so he can grab onto it real quick. All right, and then he'll bring it to his feeding appendages in where his mouth is.
Yep. Not so different from the rose fish, where it kind of waits and for a prey to come by before it snatches it.
Alright, we're good. Whenever you guys want to keep floating by, there's tons of stuff to look at.
Copy that. What do you think?
We've got about an hour and a half to hang out here on this reef top.
Feel free to come out. Pilot's clear.
You guys, if we could make it to the last waypoint before the end of the dive, that would be really good.
Yeah, that last little hump.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm good. Wherever you guys want to go, I'm happy to hang out.
All right.
I'm just along for the ride here.
If you don't mind, if you could calculate how much distance we have between
exposure here on the
4
base
and
of the mound, but
5.
there's a very small peak,
120 meters.
completely covered by this
120?
coral,
Yeah, I think so.
all in framework positions. Is that another
So I'll come up here and then I'll start heading a
Aphrocallistes,
little
but
more.
absolutely covered in zoanthids?
Yep,
the,
that one's fully covered in zoanthids.
Sounds good.
We discussed this earlier, but on the last mound, but we do not know if these
And video, if you see anything that looks interesting, feel free to call it out.
No, look down the strike, make sure 090 looks good.
Yeah.
That's what I was sort of estimating.
Sure.
Symbiotic relationship. We don't know why they're on one Aphrocallistes and then right next to it they're not.
Right on the nose.
We really have no idea why they're there.
Maybe
090 is pretty much
cloning, and they're just hopping onto the next place. I
Yeah,
think
it
I
could
see a
be.
sea star out in the distance, right on the right-hand side, or it could be some
Every-
broken
I think
fragments.
090 is pretty close.
So this whole top of this reef.
Oh my
This
god!
is the top
we're
of the
at
reef.
peak.
Alright. That was a little tease. We don't have enough tether to get there quite yet, so we'll keep making
Can
our
we
way.
maybe look at that
push up.
potential
I think I lost
sea
it.
star? It's up further if you pan upwards.
Okay.
A little more. Right at the top now. It looks like broken coral fragment, but it could also be a sea star.
Okay, you're gonna have to
It's
steer me
white.
there.
That's white. Yeah, narrows it
Is
down.
it-
Isolated.
Is it noon right now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think I see what you see.
I'm pretty sure I've been fooled and it's just some coral rubble.
That's alright. If we want to take a snap before
It's
we...
tricky.
Yeah, before we end up trucking over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Lovely.
coral.
Which we could stay here and look at it.
Yeah,
too.
I'm good too. So, oh look, we have another type of gorgonian there.
Plumarella maybe, or
Yeah,
Another crab.
some soft coral.
Itsumia. There's a rat tail in front of us at noon.
Another cute little squat lobster.
Some zoanthids at 6. Lots of living Lophelia here.
And a lot of cup corals as well.
Hypnopthiid in dead center.
Oh, there's another of those
Yeah,
yellow
I think
sponges.
so.
But that looks like a different
You're
shape
saying
than we've
a
ever seen
90,
it.
Yeah,
right,
this is more
pilot?
like
Yeah,
a
090.
inner
sounds
ear
good to
shape.
us.
Looks like someone's inner ear.
Yeah, or a
Yeah.
budding
Folded.
rose almost.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Make sure that's
Can we
all
get a
the right
quick
way.
snap zoom on this sponge, please?
Which, this one, dead
Yellow
center?
dead center,
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Video if you want to come in.
Yeah. Some small yellow sponges, real
Yeah.
soft. Lots of, right next door it's Nymphthiid, or soft
Okay,
corals.
Come up a little bit.
Some of them have their tentacles pulled all the
Sneak
way
it
in,
in.
so they're actually crushed down.
Yeah, into a little ball.
And the other one has it partially open.
Coming up a
You
tad.
can see
Good,
there's
thank you.
like a sponge. It looks like there's sponge kind of conglomerating some of this dead Lophelia together. When you look deep inside, and the matrixes there.
I thought I saw a little blue encrusting sponge too that we've seen earlier today.
Possibly.
Wow, look at these reefs. Can we pan up again a little bit just to get another broad view?
Another tease.
Yeah, so that's nice.
There you go.
Oh,
Sirius is always
Yeah.
here.
this
giving you
is
a good
exciting.
view
This is something we wanted to
of what's
see.
coming.
Yeah, and serious, if you look at V2, you can see how the extent of this
Coming back down
Lophelia
on the camera.
reef
It's
in
gorgeous.
Sirius's view. Keep in mind that B2, which you're seeing in Sirius's view, is 9 feet tall. So give you an idea how big this mound
Coming
is.
back down to the mound.
Yep.
Quite large. It looks like this is the peak of this mound.
So going in through 3.
So cool.
Did you call in that move already? Yes. Great. Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, and while we're looking at this gorgeous reef system
that's
here,
all right.
I just wanted to point out again, if you look on camera 3 on the lower corner, on the lower left corner, you'll see some bathymetry that we have here that has only just recently been collected over these last few months on some of these expeditions that have gone out. So we never knew that these mounds existed in this area, and this is something completely new, not only just to observe, but the fact that they were even here to begin with. So we're very excited to be here, and this is a zone that is outside the habitat of particular concern, and for the longest time it just looked like the Blake Plateau looked relatively flat and consistent, and we're starting to see that all of these small little pinnacle mounds are coming up. And if you joined us yesterday on the mounds, we were on some slightly different shapes. They didn't come up so shallow, but they're still mounds nonetheless, and we saw a lot of these coral rubble features with some sporadic reefs captivating around them. But we haven't seen such a robust Lophelia reef here since that other mound we just visited earlier this morning. So this is one of those new areas that we have been able to thankfully explore because of new technology, as well as being able to run these expeditions and be part of them. So this is really exciting to be here. No one knew this was here, and we would have never known had we not been fortunate enough to be able to come out and explore.
And if you are watching this, please share the stream. This is a great dive to share. Not that they're not all great.
Yeah.
This is a super great one. This nice hotspot.
You can definitely share all of these dives and tune in for the rest of our time here throughout this next month. And you can do so by using all of our social media platforms. We also welcome questions and suggestions or any comments you guys have. We're on Facebook on 2 different pages, at Ocean Exploration Research. And the second Facebook page is at Ocean Exploration Research-Education. We're also on Twitter at Ocean Explorer with the hashtag Okeanos. You can hashtag us on any of these posts. And also Instagram at NOAA Ocean Exploration. So we have a lot of great images going up there. You can also visit the NOAA website. We have great highlight videos that go up on there too. We also have personal social media accounts that you can follow us at and stay tuned. We usually try to keep updates with what's going on the ship, as well as some behind the scenes.
Give a shove and see if you can find
keep on
the next ridge.
tuning in if you can, and follow us. I'm at Deep Sea Kim on Instagram. I don't have a Twitter. Stephanie's wearing me down. I might get one. We'll see by the end of this cruise.
I am
at
Deep Sea Nerd on at Deep Sea Nerdy on Twitter, or at Deep Sea Nerd on Facebook and Instagram. And the Okeanos website is oceanexplorer.noaa.gov/Okeanos. And you can find our exploration that's going on right now. We're EX1907. It's the current exploration that we're in. We do have live video feeds links there. We also have daily updates, photographs you can share, mission logs, a section for educators if you're a teacher and you want to get your students involved, background information, stuff for the media if you're a member of the media and want to share our awesome feeds and a new discovery today. We'd be happy to talk to you about that. And then you can also meet the explorers, it gives a rundown of everybody who's on the ship, who's involved in the main ROV piloting and the video collection, and our mapping team, and Kim and I. So please share this stream. This is an awesome day.
Yep.
And if you were lucky enough to watch it live with us, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So we're happy to have you. We're glad you're with us. A lot of people. There's a lot of people to get this
looks like
mission.
That's the high you're on now, right?
Together.
Yeah, that's what it feels like coming up
I
here.
think there's 49 people on this ship. From everyone from the deckhand all the way up to the
just gonna come up over here,
CEO, the
peek
bridge,
over the
people
side.
driving the ship, and we also have I think 9
dips down,
ROV
up.
pilots,
Down that way.
6 video
Down,
and
down.
photographer, 9
Which got
video
you right
photographer.
A bunch.
A bunch. There's a bunch of them. A whole team of people. And then Mike White, who's our coordinator, who put this all together and got us all out here.
That way, I guess.
And makes everything run smoothly.
Yep.
And,
Great.
gets me water when I'm dying.
Drop a target
helps
right
me
here
out.
on
Yeah,
D2.
and a
Call
big
it
shout out
local
to
high.
everyone that's been part of this expedition, and especially also to the bridge crew and everyone for also letting us extend this dive and being able to come to the
Really just
second
wanna,
mound and look at all of this. So a
peek
big
over
thank you.
this
There's a
side.
big effort on their part. So huge shout out to them. We really appreciate this, and I bet you at home, just looking at some of this reef systems, maybe for the first time ever, this is exactly what we wanted to see and exactly what this
Swinging
extended time was
northeast.
for. So it's a really big deal, and we're very grateful that we can take the time and do this. And this is just absolutely incredible. I'm completely mesmerized as what we're looking at here.
And you can sort of mosey
So we
that
don't
way,
get
see if
this
you
all the
can
time.
follow
In the
the
past
strike
few
of this,
dives,
and
we
I'll,
have not
follow
seen
you
such a
as you go.
robust
Copy
reef.
that.
We've
Once we
seen
get
a
lined
lot
up.
of these coral rubble that's
Yeah, you can
been
see it coming
accumulating
up.
that
040,
indicates
somewhere
that
in
there
there,
was a
we'll,
reef once living there,
start
and we
pushing
don't
it.
know
Looks
why
like
it
may
died
dip
off
down a bit.
or even when, but this
Yeah,
is
it's
this is
definitely gonna
something
dip
special
down,
we're
yeah.
looking at today.
Okay.
And you can see the second lump of this mound ahead of us, I think. Is that what I'm looking at?
No, I think that's just a bump in the ridge. The next high is probably not in sight
Not in
yet.
sight,
Not in
okay.
sight.
So,
So
we're
we
at,
just now summited the first local high. It was a little farther north of waypoint 4 than it was marked on the map here.
okay.
And you can already see just the different variations. We just passed that major peak, that summit of that first little bump on that ridge, if you're looking at the bathymetry map, and we can already see there is still quite a bit of these Lophelia reefs in this section, but if you kind of compare to what we just saw a few moments ago, it doesn't look as robust. There's not as much coral accumulation. Maybe we're just giving slightly farther point of view, but if maybe we were to look all the way on the eastern side of this mound, you can start to see it gets even sparser. These thickets start to get even sparser, and that's likely due to the current system. So these corals love the current systems because it's their main supplier of food. It's their only supplier of food. And so when the currents transport all of that detrital material, that marine snow that hangs out in the water column that you can see from the Sirius view, they trap and their little polyps come out and they grab all the food, and when the current's not there, simply, well, the corals aren't there. So when a large mound like this can grow, or aggregate, I just kind of contradict myself from earlier. We don't call mounds growing, we call corals growing. But when these mounds develop over time, we start to see maybe a specific growth side, because these corals actually tend to prefer that being on that side wherever the dominating current is coming in from to get that food. Whereas on the other side, not so much. We're having that lag of current, not a lot of that detrital material is making it to the other side of these mounds. So after a certain point where the current kind of segues and splits to go out and around these mounds, we're starting to see maybe more coral growth on one side or another side. Unless, of course, you have a current system where it's tidal. and you have currents changing maybe every 6 hours or maybe once a day, where it comes from either south to north and then north to south or vice versa. And then you can start to see coral growth growing throughout these portions. And we actually see a lot of that within the Straits of Florida. On the toe of the slope of the Great Bahama Bank, we actually have that bidirectional current regime in that area, and we can actually see coral growth growing from the base to the top of these mounds in all directions in this location. So that's also quite a sight to see. So it could be one of the main reasons. Now we're going down slowly this small little ridge that we're coming at here, and you can see the coral gardens and the coral reef here is getting even more sparse.
540 somewhere in there.
In this area, so that's just another good indication of what we're looking at. Is it's what we're expecting to see when we compare the bathymetry to the current systems to the overall reef growth.
Yeah, so we've reduced the amount of living coral here to probably about
since we're going downhill, we should get a move going.
20%.
Yeah, I agree. No,
we
we
still
go ahead.
have
Probably
100%
30
cover
meters
of
now that
this dead
we're just kind of trucking.
30 or 40, I would say.
Yeah, 40 meters actually. It's good.
Yeah, and I've got you at 40 right now. We could do 40.
Yeah, sounds good to me. 040, please. So 40 meters at 040. A lot of fours, a lot of zeros.
Okay, if you hang tight and go down to the bottom here, you're like almost 10 meters up or 9 meters up. So.
Yeah. I kind of get my bearings again.
Acquire, I can come down a little with you, and then we can move you along here.
Copy that.
Yeah, this all looks pretty good.
Yeah.
We're seeing some of those octocorals come back now. The sparsely branched octocorals. When we're in the middle of that reef system, I didn't see any of them. We saw some other gorgonians, but none of those sparsely branched ones.
A small rat tail there.
So you can kind of see the shape of this mound if you look at the Sirius feed, which is feed 2. It's really elongated.
Yeah,
which is matching the bathymetry we're seeing on the multi-beam that was collected. It's like this elongated 2-humped mound.
There's a little fish there. I think it's a rat tail.
Sure. Want to do a quick zoom video?
Yeah, snap zoom. I think that's maybe your standard rat tail. Oh, looks like he really doesn't want to be filmed.
Hiding underneath.
Yeah. Go away. Thought I saw a tail of another one. Some more zoanthids clustering around some dead corals. Well, whenever you're ready, we're good too. Thanks, pilot.
Copy that.
We have about an hour and 15 minutes left here. That's nice. Another one of these Everclistes where its growth form is more like a clam shape.
Yeah.
And less of that large opening here.
Yeah.
Most of them are like that here.
On the left and the right. We're seeing that.
You starting to feel that move?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make my way.
You can barely make it out on the camera view here, but we are seeing some of those bamboo corals that are more of those fragile looking skeletons that are more wispy. They blend in very well with the background, so you can't really make them out all too well, but we saw quite a bit in the larger reef section that whenever there was some dead or barren coral, we saw a lot of these wispy bamboo corals taking up that space. So nice. Oh, look, another one of those, the larger highlighter yellow sponges. We're seeing then also another gold coral coming off screen off to the right-hand side. Oh, another sea urchin out on the left-hand side on the bottom there.
Stylosodaris or something similar.
Yep. Oh, quite a few of them. There's a smaller one right on underneath it.
Nice Immunidipicta here at 6 o'clock. There's 2 of them. See the one with his arms sticking straight up, waiting for some food to pass by.
And the other one with the arms slightly bent. Looks like almost at a 45-degree angle. Or, well, maybe even 90. I don't know. They look the same species, though.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just a preference on where you are. If you look dead center, it's one of those wispy bamboo corals that I was referring to earlier.
If you want
We
to
can
get
get a snap
zoom.
zoom on him. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like all of the polyps are in.
Bring the vehicle up a little bit.
Yeah,
Video.
I'm not seeing too many exposed polyps in this area.
But you can see the banding.
Yep, you can see the banding, maybe not on the thinner portions, but more on the main stalk.
There was a question yesterday about the banding, and the white section of the banding is calcium carbonate, and the brown section is a gorgonid protein. I do not know the details of it past that, so that's the best I can give you.
Yeah, if Scott wants to chime in on that, feel free to. But yeah, that was a question yesterday.
From yesterday, we didn't get a chance to follow up on because we didn't see any any bamboo corals, so it really wasn't in context. There's a ring anemone in the front. Something's making it move. It's not us. We're too far away.
Sorry, video.
It looks like it's out of our view. Maybe it was just a shrimp that was coming by, or
yeah, something bounced
fish.
it.
Okay, starting to
Or we
look down
blinded
at
something
you
and
a
ran
little bit.
into it.
Go
We
for
have a
that.
tendency to do
70
that.
degrees down.
Video, is there anything else that
There's
you would
that
like?
dead
I know it
Afroclistes,
kinda
this
bounced
brown
around a lot
sponge
on
right
you.
in front of us.
turning into schmutz. And is that on the bottom left-hand side? That looks like more stylasturids
good.
rather than
Okay, you're good.
Ophelia.
Excellent.
Next to more of that sparsely branched octocorals.
Continuing on.
Yeah, possible Petriciidae at 10.
Yeah. Here again, those Afrocalistes have like a large stalk, and there seems to be a wide clam-shaped opening rather than their
Yeah,
regular.
the typical open, wide open oscule.
We're also seeing a bit more sand exposure here. So there's still a dense framework system, but it seems to be conglomerated in certain ways where we're actually seeing some sediment exposure, whereas on the other side, there was so much reef overgrowth you couldn't see any part of the actual mound itself.
It's probably close to it for the ship move. I'll just,
I think just
I
roll
keep
right into
thinking
another
I'm
one.
seeing like a black organism or something, but I'm pretty sure I'm being deceived.
It's just the little holes and shadows in the standing dead coral.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll swing my head around, see
And
if we
here's
can get
the
a
mound. This
reconfirm
looks
the
fairly
strike.
reduced the amount of living coral on it. So this is the northern side
Go and do a snap
of
zoom
the
on
first
this
bump
disc
of mound
looking
2.
thing real quick.
Yep.
Oh, we got Raspiliad maybe or a Bryozoa in there. So that's either a sponge or a Bryozoa. I think it's probably Raspiliad, a sponge.
Yep. And then if we panned out, those yellow corals showed up. Oh, well, we have a pencil sea urchin right on the right upper hand
Copy that,
side of the
thank you.
screen there. But if we panned out, you could see that there was more what looks like Anelopsomnia
I'm still
corals.
swinging.
Some small thickets in that
Understood.
area, so we didn't see really any
Camera's
when we
at
saw the really
If
large
the video
coral
is
thickets
clear,
of
we can go
Lophelia
ahead and pan
pertusa.
out. Excellent, thank
But
you.
here now you can see, yep, right on the right and the left-hand side of the upper portions of the screen, you can see those yellowish tinted corals. They could be an Elipsomnia. I think they are. I don't recall Ophelia pertus ever being yellow. So another good observation to make. Another one of those whip corals, black lace corals.
Yeah, the species are a little more sparse. They're kind of, so there's less of them, and then there's less biodiversity, so fewer types of species.
Yeah, and they seem to be more spread out, more than coalesced together all in. Well, when we had one single frame that zoomed in at the max, you could still see over a dozen different species within just a few centimeters of each other.
So still getting gorgonians, this yellow Elipsamia. There's a crinoid. There's a stylaster. There's an Africalistes sponge. A couple of crinoids.
Yep.
Pentametrocrinus. Is that
Copy.
crinoid?
92.
When video is clear,
There's
pilot's
some
clear.
crinoids
Sorry,
on the
dropping on you.
Africalistes. I don't know. They have curled legs. There's 3 or 4 of them there.
I don't know if I can.
All right.
Are
So
you
you can see
talking?
the field
Do
of
you mind just saying
Africalistes
something?
and stalked crinoids.
I don't know if I
in
can
front
hear
of
you.
us.
Yep. We didn't see any stocked crinoids in the,
Oh, you were real quiet.
Lophelia reef.
Yes, we didn't. But to be fair, I mean, there was
I
a
had
lot
you
to look
full-
at.
full
So
blast.
we may have
Maybe
just
they
missed
were
them.
there, yeah.
Or they just don't want to compete with the
reef,
coral.
yeah.
And they're out here in this field.
Well, actually, we're in a gully.
So I just want to point out really quick, just from these few meters, we've also dropped by half a degree. So that's pretty fast that we've been changing temperatures in this area. Doesn't look like we scaled all that far more in depth, but definitely the change in temperature has been noted before in this region.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was saying.
just
East
still
or west
quite interesting that we
guarantees
changed
go
less
away
than
from
10
this.
meter depth, and we're a whole half a degree. Oh, looks like we have
East is
another.
ahead for the ships. So
Could that be a black coral? Can we get a zoom in on that purplish brown one at the bottom of the screen there?
Let me come down a little bit, Artem. A little off the bottom here. And Art, do you mind just saying something? You were very quiet. Oh, perfect. There we go. Oh, that's real loud now.
There's a
Perfect.
stylaster too. It
Thank
looks
you.
like at 4 o'clock.
I didn't know if you just weren't answering me or not. Alright.
So we've only seen 3 black corals.
Yeah, very few. Black
On
girls would be
this-
Biopathes, maybe
Yeah.
a Stichopathes. And this might be Bathopathes.
and
If
start
we
coming
zoom in on it, I can maybe get a better look. Might be Bathopathes. It might be something else. I'm not used to seeing Bathopathes branched like that, but
yeah.
it could easily still be Bathopathes.
So coming in a little.
And I'll mark that one for review. Maybe Bathopathes alternata.
Yeah, it does look like their small pineal branches are alternating based for coming from that main stem. But it's like the branches even have branches.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
it's coming out in 3s. Like
Yeah.
it's a tri-Bathopathes.
Yeah, I don't really sure what to call it. Definitely a black coral, Antipatherien.
Okay, I'm relatively stable if you wanna. If there's any points that you're interested in, either top, base, middle.
So all of the polyps are facing away from the general direction that we're looking at currently.
Right?
And the coral seems to be bent though from the current. Not sure if the purpose of the polyps is to be
Copy
away.
that. 1 hour and 8 minutes.
Scott says
Do a meter a minute.
it might be a Stauropathes. He's not
Okay.
sure.
Copy. Do you want me to go up to the top video or?
It looks really interesting. I can't. Not sure.
Go to the top? Alright. Cover that. Coming up.
So that's where it branches off again.
Right.
And then
Holding
again.
there. No
So
problem.
the polyps up at the top look like they're exposed. They look like they're a little more fuzzy.
Yeah, they're all on the back side of this coral, right?
Yeah.
So they're all kind of
Kind of a tough
Can't
background
really
for
see
you.
them.
to the back side. Seems counterproductive. I think the
No.
current should be coming from
We need
the side
a
we're looking at.
black
but
Yeah.
I could
sheet
be
of something
incorrect.
to put in there. jaws to be able to place behind all the objects.
Again, we are
This is magic. You could just put the
on the back side
or the
of
wrist
this
right in the
first
way.
lump of mound 2. We're actually facing south. So we're looking at the
see a little loop
northern side
Oh yeah.
of this mound.
Yeah.
And the reduction in Lophelia is actually pretty typical.
Okay. Video if there's any other shot you want me to.
Most of
or any
Lophelia is going
angle.
to be on the side facing into the
Alright, copy
current,
that.
and the prevailing current here is usually from the south. Now today we were able to
And,
actually
there was no
dive
interest
the
in
opposite
sampling this,
direction.
was there?
So we were able to dive from the south today because I guess we're in some kind of eddy or whatever.
think
There's
so.
some
It's just
condition
that,
that makes it so we can dive
Copy.
from the south to the north.
Continuing on.
Normally we go into the
Let's
current,
see.
so if
Can I tell if
something
it's
happens or
looped on
fails,
itself
we
or it's
just
just S-ing?
the ROV
think
will
it's
just drift
just
off into
S-ing.
the ether,
Okay.
Because
the abyss,
I
and
shouldn't
not
have a
bang into
turn.
anything.
Well, you don't have a turn, but it's still cool.
But
I
we're
have
still
to
getting
get
these
it to loop.
stylaster, small stylaster, some
little
gorgonians,
zoom on.
some crinoids,
Serious trying to bring up
Afroclistes.
the detail here on the tether.
Yep.
I'll
Oh,
hold
that
steady
blue
for a
encrusting
second.
sponge is
Wasn't
there
sure
again
this isn't a loop.
on the right-hand side.
That would be
Might be.
Hymodesmia.
It looks like also that on the top right-hand
Yeah,
side, it
actually,
looks like that
now that I
test
see
tube
it
cleaner,
more, it does
Chrysogorgia.
look-
Mhm.
Oh no, it's an S. It's definitely an S.
It looks like definitely a loop to me. See how it's rubbing on itself when it
It's not
moves?
rubbing on itself.
Yeah, it is. You can see it bouncing. It's doing
Really
like that.
nice to
Ooh,
see.
look at that. That's a loop?
100% a loop. Yeah, you can see it rubbing.
Do we want to try and get that out?
Yeah, maybe. Let's see.
Okay, it looks like in Sirius we're seeing a loop in the umbilical cord coming off of D2, so I think they're going to try and fix that. So it might get
Umbilical
a,
cord.
I
yeah.
don't think it's a
it
loop.
might get a little crazy here for a
100%
minute.
a loop.
Here, you pull up.
So they're going
If you
want
want to just pull up and see if it,
so
gets
if
tighter
you've never
or
watched
pulls
the
out.
Okeanos before, we're actually
I don't think it is.
It's not a
A
question whether or not it's a
two-vehicle
loop, it's just a
system.
question whether we want to take that
So
loop
at the
out.
surface of the
so-
water is
1000%
the ship,
a loop. There's no doubt.
and then
Do you want me to
800
pull over
meters
to the-
below that
The port?
is the
No.
Sirius, which is the
Uh,
Sirius camera
You
you
have the
can see in
floats
camera
on
2.
your end, so this is a loop
Feed
in
2,
my
you'll
end,
see the
so I have to
feed
turn
from
to get it out.
Sirius. So
Just
Sirius
come up
floats
a little
above
to
D2
the-
and keeps an eye on D2. We have a pilot or a co-pilot
Float,
actually
float,
runs
float.
the Sirius cameras
I
on
don't
the
know,
Sirius
a negative
ROV.
turn here.
The Sirius is really meant
So
to
I think if you
not
pull
only
up
keep an eye
and
on
look
D2,
down
but
on it,
also
I
take
think it's
the
gonna pull
brunt
up. I
of
don't think
most
it's a
of the
loop.
ship movement.
Well, it's
So you'll
touching
see
itself
Sirius move
anyways.
around quite a bit, bouncing around, but
rubbing
that
on
is to
itself.
keep
So it is touching
D2
itself.
from getting yanked. So the way we
I can
get
guarantee that.
such beautiful pictures is because D2 is
Everybody
not
else
getting
is
pulled around.
1,100, 300%.
Okay,
Besides
there.
the
Okay,
It's not a-
yeah, I see that.
Whether it's a loop.
All right.
Don't say it's
Okay.
not a loop anymore. You're
yeah, there's
wrong.
a loop in there. Definitely. There's a
Let's
loop
go
in,
like
our,
this.
in our umbilical.
It will relieve. the
We
loop.
definitely do not want to get that pinched. The
Hold it
umbilical
steady.
cable is filled with
Quick.
fiber optic cables, which communicates the
Okay, push out a little for us.
Yeah.
video feed from
Just to make sure it
D2
doesn't loop up
back to the ship.
anymore.
And if you were to get a bend, a real bend in that cable, you could sever the connection
Slow,
between
make
D2
sure it
and the ship.
unfolds.
So we need to be very careful
Okay. I'm not pushing
about
it
how
anymore.
they manage this. So we're going to take a little bit of a break and let them figure out what's going on and how to sort
Okay.
this out so they don't actually
Let's
damage
relax
the
for now,
umbilical
but
cable.
it's definitely still
If they do damage
Yeah.
the umbilical
That's a
cable,
possibility.
Coiled.
there's a way to actually cut it and then reattach
Yeah.
it.
There you
But that
are,
might
you're
slow us
safe.
down. So hopefully we won't. They're not gonna mess it up. I have full faith in
Yeah.
these guys.
Okay. I'll stay up a little higher. You can,
But if you see
continue as
D2,
we are.
if you go look at the Sirius
Got a
camera,
turn
which
in,
is
which is
feed
not
2,
ideal, but
you can see the
check
loop
it out
in the
later.
umbilical cable between Sirius and D2.
we're a half turn in the tether right now, so
Copy.
tethers doesn't have a turn. It's just a turn of 6/8. So,
Right.
okie dokie, off we go.
You're good?
Yeah, we'll just keep an eye on it every once in a while, make sure it looks good. But there's no loop left. It's just a little turn now. Up pretty high.
Looks like we're starting to come back uphill again.
They even delayed dinner for us.
Oh, how nice.
Oh, there's a cool jelly.
Okay, uphill for you is. Oops.
I'm heading
Alright, so what's
Another
happening?
maybe
4-5 at the
anal
moment.
insomnia.
That yellow guy.
Caesar.
Yellow Carl in front of us.
We're now at the base between these two little summits on this
Okay.
overall very large mound. We've scaled about a little over 60
Up to
meters
20, I'm still coming down a little.
from
Copy
the
that.
base
We've
to
got
the
uphill
peak.
040 still, so I'll just keep counting around
So
a
this
little
is
bit.
a section that we're seeing a little less overall biota, the diversity here.
Yeah,
Still sort of.
I wouldn't be
on this
surprised if
side
it
of the
increases
slope,
a little
but
bit on the southern
okay.
side as we go
I
up.
think
Absolutely.
Zero
we'll
Because
see.
now we're having
zero
that
cut
second
or something like that. We're getting
current
there.
system coming. That second peak is more in the
You want to go
direction
ahead
of
and
the
get
current.
that moving?
We're
Yeah.
having a lot of sediment
Yeah, we
exposure
can do
here.
a
Well,
070.
a lot is a relative term.
Maybe
More than where we were
I
at
don't
the,
know,
the
whatever
other
you
peak
think,
here.
Lars, 20 or 30.
And that's an
30
indication of
probably.
what
30
Looks like
meters.
it's pretty clear.
again, we're
ahead
in
of me.
between these two summits, so there's less current overall. So there is a lot of coral rubble, but
Yes,
not
yes.
so much of that living framework system. We're seeing some isolated thickets, but quite a bit still of that coarse material now is being exposed. So that underlying material of what we're looking at, that's composing a lot of this mound, the sediments as well as the coral rubble. This is probably what a lot of the interior of the mound structure looks like. I can't imagine too many things are still alive in there unless they're microbial.
And maybe some infaunal worms.
Maybe
Or
further
clams.
degrading down the system.
It's like some stylaster at 3 o'clock. We have a couple of small white, I believe, gorgonians at noon. But we've had a major reduction in the amount of fauna here, so I'm not surprised by this.
Peak. Make sure we're still good.
We are
I'm gonna
in
go
the
off top screen
center
for a
of
second.
these two
Copy.
pinnacles.
Yeah, that looks great.
We've passed quite a few crinoids in this area.
A blue sponge,
Perfect.
4 o'clock.
Awesome. Give you a little more here. Coming down. Tilting back up. Back in view.
There's another yellow crinoid, probably 10 stock, just based off the year. Oh, can we zoom in on that, what looks like a large crinoid? Maybe that's one of those deceptive...
Sure, if you want to
Oh,
zoom in.
right. Brazilian starfish?
Oh, no, that's a crinoid.
Yeah, definitely. Xenometra.
See,
I
now
believe.
I have to second guess myself.
Yep.
Crinoid isn't always a crinoid anymore.
Oh, yeah, sometimes you get phylums totally wrong. It's part of, it's, occupational hazard. Someone will eventually correct me, I figure.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm good here, thank you.
Okay, pilot's clear when video
You
is.
can see in comparison that other crinoid has all of his arms straight up into the water column, while this one has them more cascading out.
Yep.
Not sure why that is.
Yep. You know what got me over that?
Fear of being wrong?
Yeah, is that people have been doing this, I know, who've been doing this for 40 years, don't always know right away what something is.
Yep.
So that made me feel better about not always knowing right away what something was. And a lot of this stuff,
This
there's some
transparent thing
plastic
coming
or
up.
something at
on the
3,
left.
9.
Can I come in on that video,
Or
please?
is that a
It's
sponge?
egg sac or something. Who knows?
Looks like a sponge. It looks like it has an
Does.
oscule.
I do not know what's happening here.
Okay, if you want to come out, I can set up for a better.
Could
and actually
be.
sit down here.
Yeah.
In the kit.
A lot of this stuff,
Thanks.
unless you actually have a specimen in hand, you really can't be 100% sure on the species.
And even then, DNA is being
Yeah.
more the defining factor on what species it is, because
Yeah.
sometimes just looking at it, even using microscopes, you cannot tell. And these are all then potentially different clades. You can have the same species but different clades.
Yeah, it's like taxonomic torture. So this is what they do to me. So I write papers, they change stuff.
If you want to feel free
Have to
come
rewrite
in.
papers.
Rewrite. It's ridiculous.
I'll come
Thank you,
down.
Worms, World Register of Marine Species, for cataloging all the changes and delighting in my torment. I do not know what this is. It
its
looks
little
like
tube
it's
closed up.
soft.
Yeah.
It did close up, which maybe is a tunicate. I thought maybe at first it might have been some kind of egg sac.
I'll come up a tiny bit.
Is that little brown thing, purple thing in it or outside of it?
This guy, that is a nudibranch sitting on the top.
Put it down a little.
So that's cool. I can get one thing out of this picture. I know what that is.
And I know what the foram is sitting above it to the right-hand side.
But it looks like it has some kind of oscular opening that we're staring at.
With a high reactive time.
Yeah, it's pretty fast moving. My guess would probably
Slowly
be
opening
tunicate based on
again.
that, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Don't know
coming
what
back
the heck
open,
this
it looks like.
Never know what you're going to find
the
down
orifice
here.
is slowly opening again.
Oh.
Now it's closing in for. Oh.
Yeah.
Just puckered up.
I have
Makes
no
me think
idea
not
what
a
it is.
sponge.
Yeah.
That's not a sponge.
It's way too fast.
So probably tunicate of some kind. The fact that it looks like it's like, I don't know, rounded and looks like thin layer. I don't know. I don't know. I'm stumped. I'm totally stumped.
Copy.
We'll play Guess the Phylum on Twitter. So guess the phylum, everybody. Hashtag guess the phylum.
If we want to do a full...
I don't even know where to go with this.
It almost looks like the shape of, like, not to sound completely nerdy, but a velociraptor egg.
Right.
So it's kind of like that roundish shape, conical.
You're narrating a science dive, so you have well beyond sounding nerdy. Okay, you got to get over that.
Dinosaurs are too cool to be considered nerdy.
That's true. Yeah, I have no clue. I'm absolutely stumped. My guess is going to be an ascidian or a tunicate, which are basically the same thing.
Can we get the lasers out, actually? Maybe you can get a size for
Lasers
people
are
maybe
on.
watching at home.
I will flag him as an unknown. Let someone else take a look at it.
Just a sample?
He's about 15, maybe 17 centimeters big.
I mean, we could sample it. Oh, cool. What's that?
If you want to zoom back in, it looks like it just deflated a little bit.
Yeah. I'm absolutely at a loss.
It looks gelatinous.
I wonder if it was the lasers on it that made it deflate.
Maybe, but the orifice is open again.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe it was
probably
just
water
pumping out
pressure.
water, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
filling
super
back
weird.
up.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. The only thing I can come up with is tunicate. That's the best I can give you. A solitary tunicate that might be an in-current siphon or an ex-current siphon. They can actually, they call them sea squirts because they can actually squirt water out of themselves. So they're pretty fast moving. But I'm at a loss.
Yeah. A little further down, there looked to be like a shrimp off to the left side down, and it even maybe looked like it had some zoanthids.
Maybe. So you're going to have to pull the
Copy.
camera back out.
Yeah, maybe pan out a little bit, and then off to the left bottom.
Understood. Left bottom.
A little further. Oh, you see his antenna right at the bottom of the screen there?
Yeah, there's pink.
It
Yeah.
almost looks like he has a mane. He has a little afro.
Might come over this. And
I think dreadlocks. How cute.
feel free to come in.
Yeah.
Camera's all the way back.
Copy.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it's
Oh,
eggs.
maybe it's eggs, yeah.
Oh. Copy.
It
Yeah,
looks
ship
like
stop.
eggs.
Yeah, it could
Ship
be eggs.
stopped.
So that's kind of cool.
And a shrimp carrying its own egg sac. Usually if they have, it's on the underside, right? More
Yeah,
like
like
Is that
regular
full video?
illustrations. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to
That's
take
cool.
it.
Maybe
I'm at max
something
camera
deposited
angle.
the egg sacs
I
on
can
it.
swing him
Oh,
a little bit more to start.
I don't imagine, though, it's staying
Can hold
still
it
for that
there.
amount of egg sacs.
No, yeah, I would imagine this was self-induced, right?
Copy.
Picking it up, putting it on its own
Copy
head.
that.
Maybe.
How cool.
It's easy to keep
Little
an eye
tufts
on
of
him.
hair on his head.
Interesting. Nice. Thank you, pilot. We're ready when you are.
Alright. Whenever video is clear, if there's any more shots you'd like me to try and get, I can.
Yeah, that's about. Look how cool he is. Yeah, we got about 50 minutes left. 5-0. And we're going to make our way to this last waypoint, which is on the second pinnacle of this second mound.
We're just having a quick change in video personnel at the moment.
It's waving. Hello. I imagine those egg sacs would weigh the shrimp down.
Right? Swam up.
I wonder what they are, if they're of its own species or if it's deposited on him.
Yeah, I would imagine they belong to this shrimp. Just because I can't. I mean, unless it's some kind of like
Yes.
parasitic.
Thank you.
Like we have
Hitting
parasitic
change
wasps
complete.
that'll do
Just
that,
starting
right?
to lose you off
land,
all the way back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for video to get settled
Inject
and
their
then we
larvae
can come out
into
and
other
move on.
organisms.
And we're satisfied with the
Yeah, we're good.
siphon and the... Alright, full please video.
I'm still calling it a little afro.
Yeah. It's cute.
Okay.
Anyway, we were saying a lot of these species I don't, you can't
Continuing forward.
identify from
Just a view.
yeah,
And,
just pictures.
yep,
You actually have to
perfect. Thank
physically
you,
have the
video.
thing in hand, and that's really, as we came across this thing, I had no idea what it was, and still don't know what it
Yeah.
is.
5.
Um,
Still roughly.
but I'm not the only one
straight
who,
ahead of you.
Yeah,
you know,
looks
has
like
to
it.
have a specimen. Pretty much everybody has to have a specimen depending on the
Down a little
species.
bit.
So I stopped feeling bad about not knowing every single thing out there. You know.
Too far. Sorry.
And honestly, how could you? With new species coming out
Oh, my
almost
gosh.
every couple weeks or
Yeah.
even narrower time frames.
They even Worms had published that they were changing the name of Lophelia to like Dendrophilia or something.
Yep.
But we still call it
So,
Lophelia, so
Yeah, and certain names get changed, and something we thought was related to something else for decades ends up being something completely different and getting
Straight
even its own
down.
family.
Still coming up.
yes, it
So-
can be frustrating. If you want to look up any of the stuff we're talking about as far as taxonomy goes, you can go to the World Register of Marine Species, or what we call worms. They have all these species cataloged and referenced, and where they came from, who was the first person to describe it. A lot of them have pictures of the species. Yeah, so that's what we, on the research side, use as our main reference for specifically species names.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have a pancake urchin up to the left-hand side there. A few more
Area
sponges, maybe an Anelopsomnia coming off screen now.
Looks like another one of these temperature layers. Eventually.
Maybe the same one as you come back up.
Yeah.
We're holding steady at about 9 degrees, so we dropped about another 0.1 degree.
And we're coming up on the south side of this second pinnacle on this second mound.
Look, fourth black coral, so this is another Stichiopathes. So this is the third Stichiopathes we've seen, and we've seen only one other Leopathes, and those are all in the black coral Antipatheria.
Now there's that whip there to the lower left.
Yeah, the black coral here is really minimal.
Yep.
There's a big chunk of Afrocalistes all glommed together.
Yep, a bouquet.
Yep. And then the
Anelopsomnia.
Euplectelidae stuck in the middle.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, the yellow coral is an Opsamia. And then we got some white coral on the left. That's Lophelia. That's the coral that's making up all this rubble.
Yep. Got some highlighter yellow sponges again. Those are some bright colors. We're in about 790 meters below sea level. We're scaling up this second summit of this overall pretty dense mound. We have some coral rubble here, but at that first summit, we saw a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous Lophelia reef. And we're hoping to come across that on this second pinnacle as well. Here's some Lophelia patches. We have seen some small thickets of corals, including, again, a lot of these sparsely branched gorgonians that we're still not entirely sure what they are, but we did sample them a few days ago. These polyps, if we could get a quick zoom in on one of those sparsely branched corals, any one that
The
you
white
see?
ones?
Yeah.
There's one directly ahead that's wiggling. Will that work?
I think
Or-
that's
Not dead
so-
center. Off to the left a little bit. The one that looks just like a little trident little fork
Yep.
there.
Go ahead and come on it.
Yeah, now center. Just want to see if their polyps are out or if they're
Sure.
in.
they look in.
A little further if you don't mind video.
They do look in. We're good, thank you.
Alright. Pilot's clear on video.
Oh yeah, well there's one. There's one that's semi out. There's a ring anemone on him on it. And a little rat tail there. With some crinoids. There's two crinoids right next to each other on what looks like a little madrepora thicket where that yellow crinoid's hanging out on. I mean, this crinoid looks highly abundant with its arms. Can we get actually a quick snap zoom on that?
Sure.
The bright yellow guy.
Go ahead and come in.
I wonder if it's one or if it's two.
I think it's one. See how they're all curled in to the mouth area?
Yep.
Yep, there's like at least 20 arms on this guy. And they're all curled up on this madrepora coral.
Gonna spin over.
Cool.
Center it up.
It's very geometric.
Wow. Yep.
Almost
His
looks like
arms
a
are all
fern.
curled in while
Gonna come down a
the
little.
crinoid below
You get that kind of sack in the middle, it looks like.
seems to be just more open, laid out, blanketed.
So these are sea lilies is their common name. They're
Okay.
related to starfish. It's the echinoderms. See the radial symmetry. So their bodies' shapes are laid out in a circle.
Sure.
This one is not stalked. There are some species that are stalked, which means they have a long stalk that they live at the top of.
We could take a
It's part of their
scan
body.
down and take a look at that.
This one is not stalked,
Sure.
which means it's got these little
Stuff in
feet
there.
that it can let go and take off, and sort of swim away. So this is madrepora with its polyps out. So it's actively feeding. And the current, wow, there's lots of polyps out.
Wow.
Yeah. It's quite
Copy.
pretty. It's a zigzag
Come
coral.
up a little bit. Hold there.
So that's another scleractinian or true coral. Just
Copy
like the
that.
Lophelia, they're in
Pilot's clear if
Alapsamia.
science is.
We're
Got
good
it.
whenever you guys are.
Yeah,
There's
it's
another
opinion
crinoid
for-
at 6 o'clock. Totally different species.
But
That
looks
one
to
is
have 20
stalked.
arms too.
That one is a stalked species. So rat tail, it's at 3. You might have some Lophelia or some other white coral at noon. Another crinoid at noon. Some
Should do another
Chrysogorgia at
20
3
meters or
o'clock, that little
something, just to
bush.
Make sure we get there.
Yeah, we can do it.
Another one
Flat.
of those
Like,
Venus
pretty much
basket
due north,
flowers
right? Looks like.
sponges.
And then this yellow bryozoan we actually collected earlier
yeah.
today.
Oh,
Maybe just
sea urchin
east
also,
and
just
north.
little noon of Stead Center.
That's
Pencil urchin.
Yep.
Maybe 050 or
Eusideris or
something like that.
Styloceteris.
So,